Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and last time we went over the electric types that you can find in Kanto. So what we're going to do now is actually go over the normal types in honor of Eevee. So starting off with this list is going to be Pidgeot. So Pidgey is going to be one of the first Pokemon you come across, so that means Pidgeot's going to be very easy for you to get. Of course, this thing also has the flying typing, which actually will help it out in a lot of situations. It's pretty good to have a flying type, because that gives you some advantages, instead of just having a full-on normal type. But this thing has 83 HP, 80 attack, 75 defense, 70 special attack, 70 special defense, and 101 speed. So the best thing that this thing will bring is that 101 speed. That is pretty fast. You're going to outspeed a lot of things. On the offensive side, though, it is kind of lacking. But what we do know is that Mega Evolution will be in this game. We don't know if it's going to be a post-game thing or something you can experience through the main story. But that being said, let's look at Mega Pidgeot. So Mega Pidgeot gets a huge boost where it needs it. 83 HP, 80 attack, 80 defense, 135 special attack, 80 special defense, and 121 speed. So out of all the normal types, this one has the best special attack and speed in your Kanto playthrough. So Mega Pidgeot is actually probably going to be worth it if you really want a Pidgeot. That thing can hit hard, and it's very fast. It's going to be not outspeeding everything, but that 121 speed, it's going to be very beautiful. So I do think Pidgeot would be very useful, especially if you're allowed to use Mega Evolution through the main story. So on the same page as early encounter Pokemon, we're going to look at Radek Eight. So out of all the normal types, I would say Radek Eight's probably going to be one of the worst choices for you. This thing has 55 HP, 81 attack, 60 defense, 50 special attack, 70 special defense, and 97 speed. It gets decent speed and okay attack, but this thing is not going to hold out for the entire playthrough. Radek Eight's just outclassed by so many other Pokemon. This thing's not going to do much for you in the late game at all. Early on, you might get some victories with it, but the 81 attack's not really going to help you out very often. Of course, the 97 speed, that's actually pretty good, especially for an in-game team. However, you're going to get to a point where it's not really going to hold up, and it's not going to be worth carrying Eradicate around with you. This thing works best as an HM slave, but you don't need HMs in this game. Your starter Pokemon will be handling all of the HM overworld stuff. So Radek Eight without HMs is going to be pretty much useless if you really want to use one, but I don't see it holding the entire playthrough. So speaking of Radek Eight, you can also try out Alolan Radek Eight, but this Pokemon's honestly in the same boat as the normal Radek Eight. The only thing that this thing has that differentiates itself pretty well is that dark typing. There's not that many dark types in Kanto, so if you really want to use this one, you can with that dark typing. This thing has a different stat spread as well. It gets 75 HP, 71 attack, 70 defense, 40 special attack, 80 special defense, and 77 speed. So the problem with that is it's trading away okay attack power for really trying to help its bulk out, but its bulk is so low it's not going to help it at all. Alolan Radek Eight is just so outclassed by so many other Pokemon, even other dark types that you're going to be able to get in this game. So even though the dark typing, there's not many of them, the ones that are here are going to help you a lot better than Alolan Radek Eight. This thing also is outclassed, and I don't think either of the Radek Eights are going to do very much, especially in the late game. So the next normal type we're going to look at is Fearow. So Fearow is one of those normal types that have a secondary typing as well, that's flying. This is basically almost a counter to Pidgeot. Fearow has 65 HP, 90 attack, 65 defense, 61 special attack, 61 special defense, and 100 speed. So it's got a good speed stat. It's got a decent attack stat. This thing is better than Pidgeot in its base form. Mega Pidgeot does outclass this, but I mean, that's a Mega versus a base Pokemon, and this thing has no Mega. But honestly, in terms of their bases, Fearo's probably a better pick because it has a better attack stat. Of course, it is slower, and it doesn't have as much bulk, but I think that 90 attack stat will help out in a lot of places. So if you want a more offensive, normal flying type, you could go Fearo. However, there's going to be another normal flying type that's even better than Fearo in terms of offensiveness. So if you want to use Fearo, you can, but we're going to get to that Pokemon pretty soon that outclasses this thing, so stay tuned. Next up is Wigglytuff. So Wigglytuff's pretty interesting. It has the fairy typing as well as normal typing. So that's actually pretty cool. If you need a fairy type to help out your normal type needs, we do have Wigglytuff. And Wigglytuff does have 140 HP, so that's actually very good. It has 70 attack, 45 defense, 85 special attack, 50 special defense, and 45 speed. So this thing has really good HP. However, I do feel like its bulk is not 100% there because it does have a low defense and a low special defense. And this thing has only 45 speed, so this thing's not going to be outspeeding that much. It is very slow. Of course, it does have 85 special attack, and that is decent. But if you really want to try this one, it could work. I don't think it's going to be the greatest Pokemon for you. There's going to be other fairy types too that we look at that's going to outclass Wigglytuff. So I think Wigglytuff works best as like maybe an early game Pokemon you throw out just to take a hit maybe. That 140 HP though is nice. It's just not going to do much in the long run. Coming up next is Persian. So Persian is a pretty neat Pokemon. It has 65 HP, 70 attack, 60 defense, 65 special attack, 65 special defense, and 115 speed. So that's a good speed stat there. It's going to outspeed a lot of things. And it's an okay attack, not really the greatest. This thing is outclassed by a lot of things, but it does have good speed. And I do have to give it that, but unfortunately I do think Persian's going to be outclassed. Like I said, you can use any of these, but I do feel like Persian's probably not the best pick for you if you're wanting something that can hit really hard. So next up is Farfetch'd, and before I go into the stats, I do think Farfetch'd is not going to be a Pokemon you really want to use. It's one of those other normal flying typings. This thing has 52 HP, 90 attack, 55 defense, 58 special attack, 62 special defense, and 60 speed. This thing is slow. It's going to be outsped by a lot of things. Its best stat is that 90 attack, which it actually got boosted from previous generations. However, I do think how frail it is going to hurt it. It's slow. It's not going to hit things. Most of the time, it's going to get hit and knocked out. But 90 attack is okay. If you want to try it, try it. It'd be really hard to get this thing to do very much for your team. So I would just say skip Farfetch'd. So earlier I mentioned a normal flying typing that's offensive that's better than Fearo. And we've gotten to that normal flying typing. This is Dodrio. So this thing is actually pretty good. It's got 60 HP, 110 attack, 70 defense, 60 special attack, 60 special defense, 110 speed. This thing's pretty fast. It's going to outspeed a lot of things. 110 attack is pretty good. It's going to hit pretty hard. This is the better normal flying typing of this region. Honestly, I do think this is Kanto's best normal flying Pokemon. It outspeeds Pidgeot, hits harder than Fearo, and it's just, this is, if you really want a normal flying type Pokemon for your team, I would go with Dodrio. Next up is Lickitung. Lickitung is kind of an odd Pokemon. 90 HP, 55 attack, 75 defense, 60 special attack, 75 special defense, 30 speed. This thing is really slow. It's one of the slowest normal type Pokemon. It's actually speed tied with Snorlax, which we haven't got to Snorlax yet. But honestly, I would say skip Lickitung. This thing is not going to help you much at all. It's not bulky enough to be thrown out to take hits, and it doesn't have that good attack stat that you want, like 55 attack. That's really slow. It has a better special attack stat, and honestly, 60 special attack, that's not the greatest either. Its best stat is 90 HP, and it's just all around not a good Pokemon. Skip Lickitung. Speaking of a high HP stat, let's talk about Chauncey. So Chauncey has 250 HP, 5 attack, 5 defense, 35 special attack, 105 special defense, and 50 speed. This thing is well known for being a special wall. However, it's not going to take any physical attacks at all. That 5 defense is really sad. But if you need a Pokemon to take a special hit, Chauncey is here for you. But for an in-game team, I do feel like Chauncey isn't the best choice. It's only going to take special attacks well, and it's not going to do much back to the opponent. 35 special attack is its only decent attacking stat, and that's really low. This thing is well known for using Seismic Toss just for that purpose, because it's not very good offensively. So the next normal type is Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan has 105 HP, 95 attack, 80 defense, 40 special attack, 80 special defense, and 90 speed. So this thing has an okay speed stat at 90, but you're wanting it for the attack stat. 95 is really good, and it's got some good bulk to back it up too. Also, let's look at Mega Kangaskhan. Mega Kangaskhan's very good. 105 HP, 125 attack, which is actually the highest attack stat out of all the normal type Pokemon here. 100 defense, 60 special attack, 100 special defense, 100 speed. That's a good speed stat, that is good bulk, and that is good attack power. Mega Kangaskhan's very good. Of course, in this, since we don't have abilities, we're not going to have that parental bond, which is actually what Mega Kangaskhan is most known for. But I do feel like Mega Kangaskhan still is going to hold its own in this game. It is a very good pick if you can use Megas in the story game. Even if you have to wait till post-game, it is a good pick. And even base Kangaskhan is pretty decent. But yeah, this thing is actually going to be able to hold its own during your playthrough. Next up is Toro. So Tauros has 75 HP, 100 attack, 95 defense, 40 special attack, 70 special defense, and 110 speed. That's a good attack stat, that's a good speed. This thing is actually well known for being the #1 threat in Generation 1 metagame. But I do feel like it's kind of got nerfed since then. But even with that being said, Tauros is still a decent pick. It's got decent defense, decent attack, and good speed. So this thing is going to hit really hard. Tauros is a good pick if you can get your hands on it. Of course, it is probably a rare Pokemon. I don't know exactly like the distribution of where to catch Pokemon, but I do think Tauros would be worth using. So the next normal type is Ditto. So Ditto's actually kind of weird on this list because, of course, only Ditto is normal type, but once it transforms, it's going to be whatever type your opponent is. So yeah, this thing has 48 stats across the board, which is actually very low. So honestly, if you send it out in a one-on-one battle, it's not going to do much, and it doesn't have access to the imposter ability, which makes it actually good in the modern metagame. So you're going to have to transform, and before that, you're going to have to hope that Ditto survives whatever comes after it. So honestly, Ditto's only a gimmick if you try to use it in-game. This thing's not going to do much for you at all. So next up is going to be the starter Eevee. So starter Eevee, of course, cannot evolve, so you're going to have to use it as an Eevee. However, even though we do know Pikachu's stat in the new games, I don't think we know Eevee's buff stats for the starter Eevee. So unfortunately, I don't think we will know that for a while. But what we do know is this thing probably will have buff stats. So of course I do think Eevee will probably get a buff in its attack, maybe, and its bulk. I don't see them trying to put too much in speed. I do think they'll make Pikachu the fast Pokemon in this one, more of a bulky one. But that's just, you know, me contemplating. Of course, we don't know exactly what they're going to do with this, but I do think Eevee will be a good normal type once we do know its stats. So Porygon is next, and Porygon has 65 HP, 60 attack, 70 defense, 85 special attack, 75 special defense, and 40 speed. This thing's not very fast, and it's not really the bulkiest Pokemon. It does have a decent special attack stat, but I do feel like a lot of the Pokemon on this list actually outclass Porygon. Porygon is one of those Pokemon that needed an evolution and got one in later generations, so here just stuck with the regular base Porygon. It's not really the greatest Pokemon to pick on your team. You're going to be outclassed by so many things. Of course, the 85 special attack is decent, so if you really want to try one, go with a special attacking Porygon set. So the last normal type that you could pick from is going to be the one that you find next to Cycling Road. This is Snorlax. So Snorlax is actually a really good Pokemon. 160 HP, 110 attack, 65 defense, 65 special attack, 110 special defense, and 30 speed. So this thing's actually got the best special defense out of all of the normal types. And it's also got a pretty decent attack stat to help it out. Plus it has that 160 HP, so that is really great. Snorlax, of course, is slow. It's one of the slowest Pokemon that you can find, with only 30 speed. But I do feel like this thing is going to be a good Pokemon that you use with that nice bulk and with that decent attack. 110 is better than decent, actually. This thing's going to come in and hit things hard, so if you want to use a Snorlax, get yourself one. This thing will be a beautiful normal type to use on your team. So that's going to be all the normal types that you can find in Kanto, and next time I want to go over the grass types, so that's what we're going to do next time. I'm sorry this was actually pretty long of a video here. There are a lot of normal types in Kanto, and like you saw, there's actually a lot of them that are going to be very nice to use on a team if you decide you want to bring a normal type.